pleasant morning to everyone, wherever you are from. Well, I know that we have around 79 participants already, and we're expecting around 100 participants, mostly from the secondary school. And this webinar is being brought to you by the Science Teacher Academy for the Regions of the Science Education Institute, Department of Science and Technology. Um, I'm sure you are intrigued by the title of the webinar. Okay, so we will find out what we have to offer to you, and I hope that you will stick it out until the end of the webinar, because during the evaluation, we'll be giving out a few questions for you to answer. Okay. Okay, so we hope that you find this webinar valuable to you as a professional, especially when the pandemic is over and we go back to our respective workplaces. So I just wish you a pleasant morning, and uh, as always, I hope that we stay safe always. Okay, so at this point, I would like to introduce our resource person. So our resource person is Professor Six at the Department of Mathematics and Physics of the Central Luzon State University. Okay. Ang ating resource person ay anak ng Nueva Ecija, because he earned his education mostly there. Okay, so he earned his Doctor of Philosophy in Mathematics Education with high academic honors at the Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology in Cabanatuan City. He also earned his Master of Arts in Teaching Mathematics, also with academic honors at the same university, Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology, also in Cabanatuan City, and Bachelor in Secondary Education, magna cum laude, major in Mathematics, minor in Guidance and Counseling at the Central Luzon State University in Nueva Ecija. He has a vast number of accomplishments, so I'm just picking a few of the major accomplishments. He has 7 published researches in local journals from 2013 to 2018. He has 24 published books in mathematics where he is the co-author, and 6 published modules in mathematics where he is the main author. He is our very own star trainer since 2014. And aside from his duty as professor, he's also the Chief Internal Audit Services of CLSU. And likewise, he's the head of the Workload Review Committee at the same university. Aside from that, he is the section head, Instruction and Math Laboratory, Department of Mathematics and Physics Math Center. He's also resource person. He has been resource persons in various trainings in mathematics in Region 3 as well as in other regions. He has a vast number of involvements also in other as resource persons in various trainings, and too many to mention. So without further ado, I'd like to bring to you our resource person, Dr. Edwin Ibanez, who will be talking about increasing thinking skills through process-oriented mathematical tasks. Dr. Edwin.
So thank you, Ma'am Cynthia, and good morning to everyone. So before I start, allow me first to give thanks to the DOST-SEI, particularly STAR Project, for letting me share my presentation on critical thinking, first in the elementary level last April, and now in the secondary level. So perhaps, or maybe you're wondering why my topic always focused on critical thinking. So it is because I strongly believe that once these skills or thinking skills are developed to our students, mathematics then becomes an interesting subject. And which I think yun yung pinaka main aim of every math teacher. So allow me first to share my slide. Share ko muna. Let's have first this house rules. So aside from the one mentioned by Ma'am Cynthia, or parang nawala yata. So let's have this house rules that please keep your audio on mute and as well as your video turned off so that unnecessary movement can't distract during my presentation. So also I encourage everyone to wait, finish all my presentation before posting any questions in the chat box para hindi matabunan yung mga questions nyo ng greetings. So there will be time allotted for question and answer at the latter part of the session. So you may click the raise hand button in the participants section of the Zoom app if you wish to have the floor. And kindly wait for the speaker to call your name before turning your audio on for you to talk. Okay, so to start with, my topic is all about increasing thinking skills through process-oriented mathematical task. And again, I'm Edwin Daniega Ibanez, a faculty member from the Department of Mathematics and Physics. As per my topic, I will first discuss developing thinking skills, its importance, and then after that is the what of this process-oriented mathematical task and how this process-oriented mathematical task can be used to develop as well as to develop or increase thinking skills of our students. So to start with, so I am sure that if not all, most of us are familiar with this conceptual framework of mathematics education. That is what? That is the main aim is simply the attainment of this critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And for us to attain these twin goals, according to this framework, we need first to develop these 5 components. The first one is that we have this content, skills and processes, values and attitudes, mathematical tools, and context. So aside from these 5 components, it is also given in our framework that to aid us and supplement us in the attainment of these twin goals, the following principles and theory are also presented. The first one is that we have this discovery and inquiry-based learning principle, the experiential and situated learning principle, reflective learning principle, cooperative learning principle, and the only theory is this constructivism. Okay, so focusing now on this thinking skills, increasing it means developing higher order thinking skills, or yung acronym for HOTS. That is what? That is skills requiring ways of thinking that are deeper and more complex than the kind of everyday thinking that we use. So according to World Economic Forum of 2020, from 2015 to 2020, critical thinking together with problem solving is one of the top 10 skills needed to thrive in response to Industry 4.0. And that when we say now Industry 4.0, it is the fusion of physical, biological, and digital worlds, such as what? Such as robotics, nanotechnology, 3D printing, genetics and biotechnology, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. In education, critical thinking skills is very important, particularly to our students. That is, these thinking skills will aid them in decision making, in analyzing, in reasoning, evaluating, and especially in problem solving. So having said the importance of this critical thinking, there are two approaches in teaching thinking skills. That is according to Swartz and Fart 1994. The first one is that we have this what we so-called infusion approach, where thinking skills are taught explicitly, meaning thinking skills or developing thinking skills becomes one of the courses in the curriculum. And the second one is that we have this what we so-called embedded or general approach. So where thinking skills are taught in indirect ways without spelling it out to students. Like yung gagawin natin ngayon, para bang I'm teaching critical thinking by means of this process-oriented mathematical task. Okay, according to Ennis, Swartz and Parks, both of these approaches are effective. Okay, for the purpose of exploring thinking skills on the cognitive domain, a framework that describes 6 different levels of thinking can be helpful to discuss. And that this one is the Bloom's taxonomy of educational objectives. Still, I know that you are familiar with this one, so let's review. So the first level is what we so-called remembering. It means recalling, recognizing, listing, describing, retrieving, counting, and naming information. Sample task for this one is that when you ask your students to list all the fractions that they know. The second level of thinking is that we have this understanding. It means explaining, interpreting, summarizing, paraphrasing, classifying, and explaining ideas or concepts. Sample task is when you ask your students to order the fractions they listed. Third level is that we have this applying. It means using, implementing, carrying out, executing, and finding information in another familiar situation. Sample task. When you ask your students to find the average of 2 fractions, meaning given the concept of fraction, okay, you ask your student to apply this particular concept to the concept of finding the average. That is why we have this applying level. And then the fourth level is that we have this analyzing. It means breaking information into parts to explore understanding and relationships. Now, how will you compare analyzing with this applying? So take a look at this task. When you ask your students, given a fraction average, find the other fraction if one fraction is known. So comparing these two tasks, notice that this task only reverses what? This particular task. Okay, that is why we have comparing, organizing, constructing, interrogating, and the last one is that we have reversing information. Okay, these 2 levels are said to be crucial for the reason that these are the boundary points that separate low-level from high-level thinking skill. The next level is that we have this evaluating. It means justifying a decision or course of action. Aside from justifying, we have checking, hypothesizing, critiquing, experimenting, and judging. Sample task, compare fractions with a variety of different denominators and come to a conclusion. So say, for example, you have unit fractions and you ask your students to observe these unit fractions in terms of their values and then make or come to a conclusion. Okay, sample task. And the last one is that we have this creating. It means generating, designing, constructing, planning, producing, or inventing new ideas or products or ways of viewing things. Sample task is using knowledge of fractions, write a question given a context or situation. They are the one who will write a question, but the challenge is given a context or situation. So with this now, we classify the first 3, such as remembering, understanding, and applying, as low-order thinking skills, and the last 3, analyzing, evaluating, and creating, as high-order thinking skills. So with this, we can say that to think critically is to follow what? Is to follow a clear line of hierarchical thinking processes in a given mathematical task. Okay. But the question is, are we familiar with this mathematical task na nire-refer dito? Okay. So to answer that, let's have first this fact or bluff. I have this statement. So in the Philippines, there is a growing recognition of the need in school to increase the emphasis on process objectives. So this have tended to be neglected in favor of the content objectives. Is it a fact or a bluff? So based on your experience. So perhaps to answer this one, let's first differentiate what is all about this process objectives with that of the content objectives. So when we say content objectives, this one identify what the students should know and be able to do in a particular content area. They guide the teaching and learning in the classroom. While when we say process objectives, this one identify how activities or tasks will be used in order to learn the content and then develop the skills in the end. So to cut it short, when we say content objectives, this one focus on what to learn. And when we say now process objectives, this one focus on how to learn the content in order to develop the skills wanted. So I repeat, when we say process objectives, this one focus on how to learn the content in order to develop the skills wanted. Okay, so with this differences of content and process objectives, can we now answer this statement? That in the Philippines, there is a growing recognition of the need in school to increase the emphasis on process objectives. So this have tended to be neglected in favor of the content objectives. That is based on your experience. Okay, actually this one is a fact. Okay, so if that is the case, we can say therefore that to put emphasis on process objectives in the teaching of mathematics, okay, the inclusion of this process-oriented mathematical task is therefore needed. Okay, but the question is, what are these process-oriented mathematical tasks? So, are we familiar with this task that we have? Actually, we are. Kaya nga lang, we are not, hindi natin alam na yung ginagawa na pala natin na yun, that those are, this what we so-called process-oriented mathematical task. Okay, let's have now this particular question. So given these figures, you try to differentiate the following task. So given figure 1, figure 2, and figure 3. Okay, the first task is that if the pattern continues, how many squares are in figure 4? The second task is that if pattern continues, how many squares are in figure 100? And the last task is if the pattern continues, study. So these are the 3 tasks. Okay, so what you will do is that you will try to differentiate the following task for us to identify each task that we have. Okay, let's have the first task. Okay, task number 1 is that if the pattern continues, how many squares are in figure 4? So figure 1 has 1, figure 2 has 5 squares, right? And then figure 3 has 13. Then therefore figure 4 has what? Figure 4 has 9, 3 has 9, and figure 4 has what? Okay, 13. So in this case now, this task is what we so-called the math exercise. So we define it as a task where the students know what is asked and know the direct way of doing it. So I repeat, when we say math exercise, it is a task where the students know what is asked and definitely know the direct way of doing it. Okay, that is why we answer in figure 4. Ang direct answer natin is what? It is 13. How about task number 2? If the pattern continues, how many squares are in figure 100? Okay, compare it to task number 1. Okay, both clear sa atin yung question. But can we directly give the answer to this task? Unlike in the first, okay, in the first task that we have, we directly give what? 13 as the answer. But in this task number 2, parang we need to recall a certain formula. So say for example, arithmetic progression for us to give the answer to this task. And that therefore, this task is what we so-called a math problem. Okay, it is a task where the students know what is asked, but do not know the direct way of doing it. Okay, do not know, when I say do not know, do not directly know, nagre-recall pa ng formula, or meron pang ginagawang strategy, okay, to answer this particular task. Okay, unlike task number 1, directly you give the final answer. And then the last one is that we have this task number 3. If the pattern continues, study. So you try now to compare this task number 3 to task number 1 and task number 2. So in this task number 3, if you will notice, this one is what? This one is open-ended. Okay, meaning what? We are referring to a math investigation. That is, it is a task where the students do not know what is asked and obviously do not know the direct way of doing it. So sabi ko nga, open-ended yung given na task. So all in all, we have now these 3 process-oriented mathematical tasks. The first one is that we have this exercise. The second one is that we have this problem. And the third one is we have this investigation. Okay, let's check now. Let's have this activity. So classify the following mathematical tasks as to whether exercise, problem, or investigation. Okay, sample task is that compute 2 raised to 10 without using calculator. Classify the task. So this one is, okay, just an exercise. Concept of base and exponent, wherein the exponent is the one that tells how many times the base is being multiplied by itself, right? So the first task is an exercise. Okay, and they're correct. Number 2, how about this one? Perform the indicated operations and simplify. Okay, so we have now this expression, or wait, sandali muna. So this one is, we have 1 over 1 times 2, then plus. We have 1 over 2 times 3 plus. And then we have 1 over 3 times 4, then plus. We have 1 over 4 times 5 plus, dot, up to plus 1 over 99 times 100. So this one is the given task. Perform the indicated operations and then simplify. So if I will ask you, so how will you now classify this task? Is it an exercise, a problem, or an investigation? Okay, yes. So obviously, this one is a problem. Okay, a problem for the reason that you cannot directly give the final answer to this one. The direct answer to this question. That is why, clear yung tanong, maliwanag yung gagawin, but the problem is, nagkakaroon tayo ng hindi direct yung pagbibigay natin ng sagot para sa task na binigay. That is why we classify it as a problem. Unlike in number 1, we directly give that compute 2 raised to 10 without using calculator. So alam mo kaagad that 2 times 2 times 2 up to yung pang 10 2 na meron tayo, then you will have the final answer. Then number 3. The third task is that we have some natural numbers can be expressed as sum of consecutive positive integers. like 9 for example, we can write 9 as 2 plus 3 plus 4. Or actually, we can also write 9 as 4 plus 5. Consecutive din yun, di ba? And then we have 11. 11 is 5 plus 6. And also 18. 18 can be written as 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. And so on. Okay. The given task here is study. So now you classify this task number 3. Is it exercise? Is it a problem or an investigation? Yes, obviously, number 3 is what? Number 3 is an investigation. Okay, good. So I repeat, number 1 is an exercise, number 2 is a problem, and number 3 is an investigation. Okay, how about the last one? I have this number 4. So take a look at this. So a census taker knocks on a door and asks the woman inside how many children she has and how old are they. Okay, the woman answered, I have 3 daughters and that their ages are whole numbers. And the product of the ages is 36, says the mother. And then the census taker respond, that's not enough information, responds the census taker. Then the mother said, okay, I tell you the sum of their ages, but you distill based sum. Matitigilan ka pa rin. And then, this one now is the respond. I wish of the census taker. I wish you'd tell me something more. And then the mother respond, okay, my oldest daughter Annie likes dogs. And that the question is, what are the ages of the 3 daughters? So in this task now, the question is, you just classify. Is it an exercise, a problem, or an investigation? So this one is it an investigation? Investigation ba? Hindi ko mahaba yung given task ay investigation na. So check nyo pa rin yung definition ng investigation. For investigation, it is open-ended. You do not know what is asked and that therefore you do not know the direct way of doing it. But take note that in this case now, in this task, you know what is asked. Okay? Ang tinatanong ay, what are the ages of the 3 daughters? Ang problema lang is that you do not have the direct way of answering this particular task. And so therefore, this one is what? Ang classification niya ay, okay, and that is correct. The classification is problem. So klaro na? Okay. So given now the following task, so with these differences, therefore, as teachers of mathematics, it is important that we need to become familiar with this process-oriented mathematical task. Okay, tandaan natin itong part na ito. The learning that takes place in the classroom is, in one way or another, affected by the kind of task that we give to our students. So we need to become familiar as to whether we are giving a drill, saan ba ito appropriate na ibigay, problem, saan ba appropriate na ibigay, and investigation, kailan ba, saan at kailan ba dapat itong ibigay sa ating mga estudyante. Okay, so let's focus now on problem. Okay, so again, when we define problem, we define it as a task where the students know what is asked but do not know the direct way of doing it. And the process of answering this problem is what we so-called what? Is what we so-called problem solving ang tawag. Okay, so a problem can be classified into 2. The first one is that we have this routine problem. So we define a routine problem as a mathematical task that involves the use of at least one of the 4 arithmetic operations to solve the problems that are practical in nature, and that it stresses the use of algorithm or procedure to solve the problem. Okay, so klaro yung definition ng routine problem. So sample of routine problems, we have 3 examples here. The first one is that given a fraction average, find the other fraction if one fraction is known. Number 2, what is the perimeter of an octagon that has sides of 9 inches long? And number 3, what is the interest of 25,000 pesos if invested at 4.5% compounded annually in 3 years and 2 months? Okay. Ano ang na-notice niyo sa 3 problems na ito? So ito yung mga usual problems in our books, right? So those are what? Those are routine problems. Okay, routine problems that what? That stresses the use of algorithms, yung mga formula na meron tayo to solve the problem. Okay. So aside from these routine problems, we have this what we so-called non-routine problem. To differentiate it, it is a mathematical task where one does not readily have an idea, okay, on how to go about in solving the given problem. So this kind of problem may be solved in many different ways or strategies. Again, this kind of problem may be solved in many different ways or strategies with little or no algorithm at all, and usually may have more than one solution. So ito yung contrast, yung contrast ng routine sa non-routine. Yung routine kanina, talagang procedural. Meron tayong algorithm na susundin. Samantalang dito, okay, with different strategies, with little or no algorithm, and that this one may have more than one solution. Okay, given that case of a non-routine problem, then therefore we can say that non-routine problem solving can be an excellent tool in developing and enhancing the mathematical creativity of our students. Sample problem. Take a look at this problem of non-routine. So how many different total scores could you make if you hit the dartboard shown with 3 darts, 1, 5, and 10? So compare this kind of problem to the first 3 problems of routine problems that we have. And also, take a look at the second problem. Anna is making a design that looks like row of houses for her project in home economics. The design looks like this. Okay, the question is that if she will use matchsticks for the houses, how many matchsticks does she need to make a row of 25 houses? Is a box of matches containing 100 pieces enough for 25 houses? So another example of a non-routine problem. So take a look at these 2 examples that we have and compare it to the first one. Okay, so let's have now this comparison. Set of mathematical problems. The first one, we have these routine questions. That routine questions do not require students to use higher order thinking skills. Kasi normally, ang nagiging strategy na ginagamit dito is that recalling formula. Okay? The second one is that under routine questions, this one use clear procedures or algorithm. So compared to non-routine, so non-routine requires HOTS or higher order thinking skills. Non-routine questions increase the reasoning ability of our students. Okay? Non-routine questions encourage solution and strategy. Non-routine questions challenge thinking skills. Non-routine questions produce creative and innovative students. Non-routine questions require decision-making. Non-routine questions require suitable amount of time to solve. And lastly, non-routine questions encourage group discussion in finding the right solution. Okay, so take a look at this difference. So with these differences now, let's have this model describing the problem-solving abilities of the students. At least aware tayo kung paano ba i-develop o mapapa-increase, mama-maximize. So based on this model, take a look at this. Given a circle represented by the problem-solving abilities of the students, it is inscribed in a triangle. a triangle that is equilateral, meaning 3 sides are equal, okay, with the following parameters for each side: goal, process, and skill. Okay, we know that for us to maximize the area of a triangle, the kind of triangle na pwede nating magamit is the equilateral one. Meaning, I repeat, 3 sides are equal. So lumalabas bali na if you will interpret this particular model of the student's problem-solving abilities to maximize this particular problem-solving abilities, okay, kailangan natin na equal ang treatment sa goal, sa process, and skill or skill wanted. Kasi normally, nagko-focus tayo saan? Sa process tayo nagko-focus. But according to this model, I repeat, okay, to maximize the problem-solving abilities of our students, dapat ay ano? Okay, very obvious naman, equilateral yung triangle, meaning equal treatment for each parameter. Okay, ano ba yung goal na tinatawag natin? Goal of problem solving. When we say goal, the goal of problem solving is identifying and attaining the desired end or what the problem asked for. And then when we say process, problem solving as a process is a planned strategy, okay, to attain the goal of the problem. And when we say now skill, take a look at this definition. Students develop the skill in problem solving when they are able to solve different types of problems and apply different strategies to obtain the answer. So doon lang nadidevelop yung tinatawag nating skill. Okay? And that according to that model, equal treatment to these three, to the goal, process, and skill. Okay? So remember this one. So problem solving seen within the context, I repeat problem solving seen within the context of these three, goal, process, and skill, can be rolled into one. That is what? That is, the goal sets the process to be pursued. When the process is done repeatedly and correctly in different ways, using different strategies, then it becomes a skill. Okay, so we have this idea. Okay, applying the given model. Okay, now the question is that since we are talking of these different strategies, these are the different problem-solving heuristics or strategies na commonly used in mathematics. Actually, marami to, pero namili lang ako ng first 10. Okay, we have make a table, guess and check, eliminating possibilities, using formulas, searching for patterns, using real object, drawing diagrams or pictures, make an orderly list, simplifying problem, and the last one is that we have this working backward. Okay, so let's have now a sample process-oriented mathematical task. Okay, particularly a problem that aims to increase the thinking skills of our students. So always remember that, yung sinabi ko kanina, the learning that takes place in the classroom is in one way or another affected by the kind of task that we give to our students for us to increase or develop their thinking skills. Okay, sample problem. Simple lang, pero tignan nyo yung kaya nating ma-develop. Okay, the given problem states that Mr. Castro is scheduling a basketball tournament in his barangay. There are 5 teams that register. So each team will play once with each of the other team. The question is that, how many games should he schedule? The first question. The second one is that, suppose that there are n teams. How many games should be scheduled? Okay, so given now this task, let's focus first on question number 1. So how many games should Mr. Castro schedule? So there are 5 teams, right? So using now the different strategies that we have, pwede mong igrupo yung mga estudyante mo, and that bawat grupo, bahala sila kung anong gamitin nilang strategy for them to answer it, for them to answer this non-routine problem. Okay, so for example, let's have solution 1, wherein the given strategy is that listing of data. Okay, so based on the given, there are 5 teams. Let's name it as Team A, Team B, Team C, Team D, and Team E. So Team A will play B, C, D, and E. Team B will play C, D, and E. Team C will play D and E, and Team D will play Team E. So in this strategy, each segment represents 1 game. And so therefore, for the question, how many games? The answer is that number of games is therefore equal to, so we have 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Tama ba? Okay, so we have the first solution. Now let's have the second solution. The second solution is that using this strategy, drawing a diagram or figure. So in this case now, the same given tayo. So 5 teams represented by A, B, C, D, and E. Okay? The teams can be positioned to form a pentagon. So we have this pentagon. So we have these 5 teams. So each segment represents 1 game. Then therefore we have first game between A and B. Second game, B and C. Third game, C and D. Fourth game, D and E. And fifth game, we have what? Between A and E. But notice that meron pa tayong possible combination ng paglalaro. That is what? Okay, between B and E. Between B and D. Between A and D. Between A and C. And the last one is that between C and E. So in this case now, number of games, if you will count it, there are 10 games also. Okay, note that we use different strategy or heuristic. Okay, let's have the third solution using table. Possible ba? Okay, in this case now, same given tayo, A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, the teams can be listed in a grid. Okay, so we can have this grid. Distinct combination of letters represents 1 game. Meaning what? So we have 5 by 5, therefore there are 25 combinations. But notice that AC and CA, so when I say now AC and CA, so we have now AC and CA, actually pareho lang yan. Tama ba? And also, note that AA is not counted as a game. Why? Because this means that the Team A will play itself, which is impossible. Alam naman kakalabanin nila yung sarili nila. So in this case now, deleted yung AA, BB, CC, DD, and EE combinations. And also, sabi ko nga, since AC is just the same with CA, so deleted na ito, DB, same as BD, EC. Same as true with BA, CB, DC, ED. Meron ng kapares dito sa kabila. And then we have DA is similar with AD. And then we have this EB, similar with BE. And we have this EA, similar with AE. So all in all now, number of games is equal to, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So all in all, number of games is equal to what? Is equal to 10 using what? Using table strategy, making table strategy. Okay, let's have the fourth solution. Okay, fourth solution is that usually ginagamit sa mga routine problems, applying formula. Okay, that is what? So with this kind of problem, anong formula ang pwede nating magamit? Formula of, okay, you are correct, combination. That is what? Okay, so we have combination n taken r at a time. So given by the formula n factorial divided by r factorial times the quantity n minus r factorial. or by substitution, combination of 5 taken what? 2 at a time. So by substitution, we have 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial times the quantity 5 minus 2 factorial. So simplifying this one is we have what? Okay, 5 minus 2 factorial is 3 factorial. So we can rewrite 5 factorial into 5 times 4 times 3 factorial so that we can cancel 3 factorial. And that 2 factorial is equal to 2. So 5 times 4 divided by 2 is equal to, we have 10. So therefore, there are 10 games. Okay, nakita? So, in this case now, we're done with question number 1. Using different what? Using different strategies or heuristics. Now, the second question is that, suppose that there are n teams. The question is, how many games should be scheduled? Okay, so with this question, nakita na-analyze na. So kasi possible na in the first question, there are 5 teams, di ba? Tama? Okay. Possible question is that, what if there are 6 teams? There are 7 teams. There are 8 teams. Or there are n number of teams. Okay, so by now, let us focus now in our different solutions kanina. Okay, going back to the first solution that we have. Okay, again, what is this strategy? This one is listing, right? So, dito natin kunin yung sagot sa second question. That is what? Number of games is equal to, given as we have 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Okay, focusing now on this 5 teams. May 5 teams tayo. Okay, for us to answer the second question, okay, we need to relate the following numbers such as 4. So how will you rewrite 4 in terms of 5? So we can rewrite 4 in terms of 5 in terms of what? We can have 5 minus 1. Tama ba? Plus, okay, how about 3? So 3 can be written as what? 3 can be written as 5 minus 2. Okay, how about 2? 2 can be written as 5 minus 3. Tama ba? And then plus, we have this one, and 1 can be written as 5 minus 4. Nakita? Okay. So this one can be written as 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Okay? Minus, we have 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Will you agree? Okay, they are the same, right? So, adding 5 4 times can be written into 5 times 4. Am I right? So, minus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is equal to 10. But note that 10 can be written as what? 10 can be written as 5 times 4, which is 20, divided by 2. Okay? So simplifying now this expression, we have 5 times 4 minus 5 times 4 divided by 2. This one therefore is equal to what? Is equal to 5 times 4 divided by 2. Tama ba? Okay, letting now, okay, letting n be equal to the number of teams. Yan. So letting n be equal to the number of teams, note that there are 5 teams in here. Tama ba? So we can represent 5 as n. Tama. But how about 4? Okay. Then therefore, if n is equal to 5, therefore 4 can be written as n minus 1. Divided by what? Divided by 2. And so therefore, Okay, therefore, to answer what? Wait, sorry. Okay, to answer the question, for n number of teams, therefore, we have this particular expression to count the number of games. Okay, to count the number of games, it is given by the expression n times n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, now the question is, how about in the second solution? Okay, so this is our second solution. So by what strategy? By drawing a figure or a pentagon. Okay, wherein this one is the same as what? Okay, for the games that we have in here, these games are represented by what? First, by the sides, tama ba? By the sides of the pentagon. And then, ask your students, what do you call this line segment? Yung 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are what? Actually, yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you may ask, what do you call these sides? Line segment whose endpoints are the consecutive vertices of a polygon. Then they will answer it as side ang tawag doon. How about non-consecutive? Ano ang tawag natin? Ang tawag doon ay diagonal, right? You ask your students. So in this case now, number of games is therefore represented in this strategy by the number of sides of the pentagon plus number of what? Number of diagonals. Okay. Okay, in this case now, when we say number of sides, letting n be equal to the number of sides, so we know that there are 5 in here. So in this case now, this one is n. Then plus, how about for the number of diagonals? Okay, recalling the formula for the number of diagonals, we have what? We have the formula n times n minus 3 divided by what? Divided by 2. Is that correct? Okay, so tama yan. So in this case now, simplifying it, this one is equal to. So we have this 2. Then this one becomes 2n plus, we have n times n minus 3. So simplifying the numerator, then this one is equal to, so we have 2n plus n squared minus 3n divided by what? Divided by 2. Combining similar terms, then we have what? We have n squared minus n divided by 2. And that factoring out n, we have therefore n minus 1 divided by 2. So just the same, yung nakuha natin, okay, in this case now, given n number of teams, okay, the number of games is represented by the expression, we have n times n minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, and this is for what? For the second solution that we have. Okay, now take a look at the third solution. How about this one? So how will you ask your students? Or say, for example, the group. Okay, the group having this kind of solution in number 1. For n number of teams, then therefore what? Then therefore, paano gagawin nila para mapalabas nila yung n number of teams? Okay, note that saan nag-start yung mga estudyante rito? Nag-start sa 5 by 5, di ba? So number of games is therefore equal to, number of games is equal to, so we have 5 times 5 times 5. So we have 25 combinations. And then we deleted this 5. Yan, we deleted this 5. So minus 5. Kasi hindi pwedeng kalabanan yung sarili niya. And then, tinanggal natin yung kalahati. When I say tinanggal natin yung kalahati, we need to divide it by 2. Tama ba yun? So in this case now, this one is therefore equal to what? This one is therefore equal to, okay, actually, kita na natin pag nilet natin yung n be equal to the number of teams, this one is therefore equal to, we have what? We have n times n minus n divided by 2. Labas ka agad. So in this case now, we have n squared minus n divided by 2. And that factoring out n is we have n times n minus 1 divided by 2. So just the same, for n number of teams, we have this expression, n times n minus 1 divided by 2. So get the idea? But take note that nadiderive natin yung, nakukuha natin yung answer in number 2 using their first solution. Okay, how about the fourth solution, applying formula? So in this applying formula, take note that kita kaagad kung nasaan eh. So we have this part. Ayun kaagad oh. So we have we have 5 times 4 divided by 2. That is, if you will let n be equal to the number of teams, so obviously this one is equal to n times n minus 1 divided by 2. So all in all now, we have these solutions. So if I will ask you, what can you say about the given task? Note that it is just a simple problem, tama ba? Okay. And that, does it increase, sa tingin nyo ba, does it increase the reasoning ability of your student kung sakasakali na ganun yung magiging solution nila? Actually, pwede nyo sabihin na hindi naman ganun katatalino yung mga estudyante namin para magawa. Actually, kaya nga teacher tayo yung mag-guide sa kanila for them to have that kind of solution. Para bang what if kung ganito ang gagawin mo? Okay? Does it challenge their thinking skills sa tingin nyo? Or require decision making? Or encourage group discussion for every solution? Yun siguro ano? Okay? Okay, let's have now this second task. So the second task is a math investigation. Okay, the first one is a problem. Okay, in this case now, we define math investigation, or previously defined as a task where the students do not know what is asked and do not know the direct way of doing it. Actually, may 2 examples na binigay doon kanina. Okay? So, there are 7 stages of math investigation. Let's have this. The first one is that we have this getting started. The second one is we have taking a break. Okay? Exploring systematically, making conjectures, testing conjectures, explaining, justifying, and the last one is that we have this generalizing. So under generalizing, it means reorganizing, elaborating, and summarizing. Okay, let's have now a task applying these different stages kung paano tayo mag-investigate. Okay, so let's have now this task. The given task is that mark a number of points on a circle and join them by chords and then investigate. Okay, so this is the given task. So let's have stage number 1. So take a look at this. Getting started. So under this stage, students need to become familiar with the things. When we say things, we are referring to objects, numbers, situations, or shapes given in the problem, or given in the task to be investigated. So try to produce a variety of particular examples or instances. So for example, this one is the given task or the given investigation. Mark a number of points on a circle, and join them by chords. So what are these mathematical terms that your students need to become familiar first? Okay, so we have points. Ito siya. Then we have circle. Then we have chords. And then if you will analyze it, given a circle, may point tayo rito. For example, another point in here, may chord tayo rito. So meron tayong regions. Possible yun, di ba? Okay. Regions formed by the chords. Or possibly, may another chord tayo rito. Another chord tayo dyan. In this case, may tinatawag tayong intersection. So we have this intersections formed by the chords. Okay, so we have now stage number 1, getting started. Okay, parang familiarity lang dun sa mga technical terms na meron doon para at least mas magiging madali pagpunta sa second stage. Because second stage is all about gestating or brainstorming. Okay, under this stage, thinking about the given examples, yung sa stage number 1, try to come up with something you or your group would like to know or interested about. So given yung mga points, chords, intersection, regions na pinag-usapan nyo sa stage number 1, okay, perhaps pwede mong sabihin na for a given number of points on the circle, ito manggagaling to sa grupo ha. So what is the maximum number of chords? Yun yung naging point of interest. Or possible din na, what is the maximum number of regions? And or possible din na, how many points of intersection of chords are there inside the circle? Okay, assuming that yung grupo nyo mas interested dito sa number 1. Okay, mas interested sila sa number 1. Sorry. Okay, so in this case now, pupunta na tayo ng stage number 3 kasi nakapili na kayo di ba? Napili na ay what is the maximum number of chords given number of points on the circle. So you will now explore only to this one. Okay? So stage number 3, exploring systematically. Okay. Again, meron diyang systematically na nakalagay. So data may be gathered and organized and sought pattern. So pattern searching. It is where you can use the different heuristics that we have in problem solving. Doon na papasok. So by construction, for example, let n be equal to the number of points on the circle. Then we can have this one. That is by construction. One of the strategies. That is what? For 1 point, meron tayong, wala tayong chord na magagawa. Okay, for 2 points, 1, 2, yun siya. Meron tayong isang chord na magagawa. For 3 points, so we have 3 chords. Nakita? Okay, 4 points. We have 6 chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And for 5 points, there are 10 chords. Tama ba? Okay, so in this case now, aside from this by construction, okay, pwede mong i-tabulate yung data mo para mas madaling mag-observe. That is what? So when you tabulate it, para mas madaling makakita ng pattern. Kasi kung kung by construction lang, para ang hirap humanap ng pattern. Okay, so para maging mas madali, tabulate your pattern, or tabulate your data, and observe the pattern. That is what? That is, first we have this number of points. Yan. And then we have this maximum number of chords. Yan. For the number of points, based on the given sa construction natin, meron tayong 1, 1, meron tayong 2, okay, 2, meron tayong 3, meron tayong 4 hanggang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hanggang 5 yon, di ba? Okay, for the maximum number of chords, for 1, sabi natin wala tayong chord na magagawa. For 2 points, meron tayong 1 chord na magagawa. For 3 points, 3 chords. 4 points, 6 chords. And for 5 points, there are how many? There are 10 chords. Now, paano nyo kukunin yung pattern? So, sa pagkuha ng pattern, just observe, para bang given the following numbers 0, 1, 3, 6, and 10, observe kung paano itong isinulat o kung paano itong i-relate in terms of the number of points. Halimbawa, 0. Okay. In terms of the number of points, paano natin magagamit yung 1? So we can write 0 as 1 times 0. Tama ba? So similarly, yung 1, na number of chords in terms of number of points can be written as what? Can be written as 2 times what? 2 times blank to become 1 is equal to 2 times 1/2. Tama ba? 2 times 1/2 is equal to 1. Now, how about 3? 3 is what? Is obviously we have 3 times 1. Okay, how about 6? So how will you write 6 in terms of 4? So we can write it as 4 times what? To make it 6. 4 times 1.5. Tama ba? But what is 1.5? 1.5 is 1 and 1/2. Okay, in terms of improper fraction, 1 and 1/2 is equal to, so we have 3 halves. And the last one is that we have this 10. So 10 can be written as what? In terms of 5. It is 5 times, and you're correct, 5 times 2. Okay. So with this now, may pattern na ba kayo nakikita? So kung wala pa tayong pattern na nakikita, ay wala pa ba? Actually meron na. Ito na yung pattern, no? So this one is 0, right? This one is 1/2. This one is 1. 3 halves. This one is 2. So incremented by what? By 1/2. Okay, to show it, so this one can be written as what? Can be written as 1 times 0. Or simply, pwede natin ilagay na 0 over 1 is the same as 0. Okay, is equal to, we have 2 times 1/2. This one can be written as, we have 3 times, 1 can be written as 2 over 2. And then this one is equal to, so we have 4 times 3 over 2. And then we have 5 times 2 can be written as 5 times 4 over 2. Now observe. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, referring to the number of points. Then, this one is not 1 but rather 2 ito para pare-pareho. 0 over 2 is actually equal to 0. Then observe that we have constant yung denominator natin sa multiplier na 2. Tama ba? Then ang nagbabago lang is that itong numerator natin, here we have 0 for the first one, then followed by 1, followed by 2, 3, and 4. Now, with respect to the number of points, we can rewrite 0 as what? We can write 0 as 1 times 0 is 1 minus 1 divided by 2. Will you agree? Okay. And that this one can be written as 2 times, how about 1? With respect to 2 is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 divided by 2. And then we have this 3. 3 times 2 can be written as 3 minus 1 divided by 2. Okay, is equal to 4 times this 3 can be written as, okay, 4 minus 1 divided by 2. And this 4 can be written as 5 times, to have this 5 minus 1 divided by 2. Tama ba? So, therefore, given po, for the given number of points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So therefore, this suggests that 1, 2, 3, for n number of points, okay, for n number of points, therefore, we can rewrite this one as what? We can rewrite this one as 1, 2, 3. So since n is equal to 5, so we can have what? We can have n times n minus 1, tama ba? Following this pattern, divided by what? Divided by 2. So in this case now, we saw this pattern, n times n minus 1 divided by 2 based on the given data that we have. Okay, pag may nakita na tayong pattern, okay, saka pa lang tayo pwedeng pumunta sa stage number 4, wherein stage number 4 is making conjectures. Okay, let's define first what is all about this conjecture. So conjecture is a general statement of inference formed without proof or sufficient evidence. Yan. So gagawa na tayo ng general statement of inference. So we can say therefore that Okay, so paano tayo gagawa ng conjecture? Napapatunayan natin. So, this is our conjecture. For n number of points on a circle, the maximum number of chords joining them is given by the expression n times n minus 1 divided by 2. Again, itong expression na ito ay nanggaling dun sa pattern na nakita natin, naobserbahan natin o naobserbahan ng mga estudyante nyo. Okay, so yan yung stage number 4, making conjectures. Now, we can move now to stage number 5. Wherein stage number 5 is you need to test your conjecture kung tama ba siya. Okay, kung tama ba siya doon sa mga available data na meron tayo. Actually, sa stage number 5, pwedeng kung sakasakali man na hindi tama yung conjecture natin doon sa mga available data na meron tayo, pwede nyo nang i-reject kaagad yung investigation na ginagawa nyo or pwede nyo i-revise kung sakasakaling para bang hindi siya tama sa ilang numbers lang. Okay, so let's check now. So testing conjecture, this is checking the consistency of the conjecture against the existing cases for which data are available or predicting results for untried cases and then obtaining the relevant data. So the data may support the conjecture or provide a counterexample indicating the need to revise, ito sinasabi ko kanina, or reject the conjecture. So i-test natin. Okay. So testing it, take a look at this one. So number of points, so ganun din. So meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tama ba? So based on the diagram, pag meron tayong isang point, wala tayong chord na magagawa. Pag meron tayong 2 points, 1. Pag meron tayong 3 points, 3. Pag meron tayong 4 points, ilan? 4 points ay 6, 6. Pag 5 points, there are 10. Tama ba? So applying now yung expression na na-derive natin based on the pattern, so pwede tayong mag-substitute kung magtutugma nga. That is what? That is, when you substitute it, yung 1, substitute na sa expression, so we have 1 times 1 minus 1 divided by 2 is equal to, yes, we have 0. Tama, no? Then when n is equal to 2, substitute natin dito, so we have 2 times 2 minus 1 divided by 2. So this one is equal to what? Is equal to 1. Then when n is equal to 3, substitute, so we have 3 times 3 minus 1 divided by 2 is equal to, so we have 3. When n is equal to 4, so we have 4 times 4 minus 1 divided by 2. So this one is equal to 6. So pareho pa rin. And then when n is equal to 5, when you substitute it, so we have 5 times 5 minus 1 divided by 2, which is therefore equal to 10. So note that we have 0, 1, 3, 6, 10. Okay, equal to 1, 0, 1, 3, 6, 8, and 10. So in this case now, tested yung ating conjecture based on the available data na meron tayo. Okay, that is the case, pwede ka na mag-proceed sa step number 6 or stage number 6. Wherein stage number 6 is all about explaining or justifying your conjecture. So, bakit kailangan pang i-justify yung conjecture na yon? Kasi notice that, tinest lang natin yung conjecture na meron tayo base lang doon sa available data na meron tayo. Ano lang yung mga ginamit yung data? 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, 5 points. Now the question is, what if kung there are 6 points, tama pa rin ba expression na yon? What if there are 10 points, tama pa rin ba? Or there are 100 points, tama pa rin ba expression na yon? So we need to justify. We need to prove our conjecture. Okay? And that when we say now we need to prove our conjecture, okay? So one way of proving our conjecture is that, kunin ko na yung pinaka-basic, is algebraically. That is what? Given the sequence, ano yung sequence natin? So we have number, the first one there is we have 0, tama ba? Then followed by 1, followed by 3, followed by 6, and the next one is what? And the next one is we have 10. So we have this sequence. Tama, no? Okay, getting its difference pattern. Okay, for the first difference, so we have 1. Second difference, we have 2. Third difference, we have 3. Fourth difference, we have 4. Tama ba? So we are referring now to the first difference. Okay. Yung first difference na yon, notice that hindi pa rin constant. So hindi tayo pwedeng tumigil dyan. Let's have for the second difference, 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay. Note that we have now this what? We have now this second difference. Wherein the second difference is a difference. Yun. Is constant. Okay? So in this case now, kung constant na yung second difference natin, pwede nating masabi na yung sequence natin is can be represented by a quadratic expression. That is what? For a quadratic expression in general, we can have an squared plus bn plus c. Tama ba yun? Okay, that is if, for example, if n is equal to 1, you just substitute if n is equal to 1, then what? Then this quadratic expression becomes what? Becomes a plus b plus c. Tama ba? Okay, but if n is equal to 2, then this quadratic expression becomes what? Becomes 4a plus 2a plus c. Okay, if n is equal to 3, then this expression becomes what? Becomes 9a plus 3b plus c. So similarly, kunin natin yung first difference. Okay, yung first difference ng n is equal to 1 and n is equal to 2. So therefore, subtracting a plus b plus c to 4a plus 2a plus c, then this one becomes what? 3a plus b. Tama ba? And then subtracting 4a plus, this one is b, sorry. Subtracting 4a plus 2b plus c to 9a plus 3b plus c, then the result is we have 5a plus b. So in this case now we have the first difference. And then getting the second difference, that is 3a plus b minus 5a plus b kako sana minus 3a plus b, then this one becomes what? This one becomes 2a, which is our second difference. But take note that our second difference is constant. It is equal to 1. Tama ba? And we have the second difference here. Then therefore, it follows therefore that what? That 2a is equal to 1. Okay, so that a therefore is equal to what? A therefore is equal to 1/2. Okay, good. A is equal to 1/2. And then next, you get now your 3a, this one. You get now your 3a plus b, which is equal to what? Is equal to 1. It is the difference of the first and the second. Tama ba? So that we can solve now for b. That b is equal to what? That b is equal to, when you solve it, tama ba? Negative 1/2, ano? Okay, to check kung tama yung negative 1/2 natin yan, kunin natin yung 5a plus b. Just to check. 5a plus b, which is equal to, ano ito? Difference ng second and third. So ano ang difference ng second and third? It is 2. So therefore, this one is equal to 2. So that, okay, so that what? So that b also is equal to negative 1/2. So na-check natin na tama yung b natin, that b is equal to negative 1/2. Now, how about the last variable, which is c? Okay, in this case now, for c, what we have is that a, kukunin natin to, a plus b plus c is equal to what? It is the first term. But what is the first term? The first term is equal to 0. So, is equal to 0. So that when you substitute a and b, which is 1/2 and -1/2 respectively, C therefore is equal to what? C therefore becomes 0. Tama ba? So in this case now, given that A is equal to 1/2, B is equal to -1/2, and C is equal to 0, then by substitution, kunin natin yung expression na AN squared plus BN plus C. This one is equal to, so we have what? We have A is equal to 1/2 N squared minus, we have 1/2 N plus 0. Simplifying it, LCD natin is 2. So we have N squared minus what? Minus N. Simplifying it is we have N times N minus 1 divided by 2. So in this case now, take a look at this. So take a look at this, that we have the expression N times N minus 1 divided by 2, proven yung conjecture natin. So if this is the case, from stage number 6, pwede ka nang pumunta ng stage number 7. That is what? Generalizing. That is, ikakat ko na lamang sa generalizing, that is for n number of points on a circle, the maximum number of chords joining them is, so tama ito in general. So we have n times n minus 1 divided by 2. And that is the process of math investigation. Okay, so para bang, assuming that nagawa na itong nagawa na ng una na yan, isang grupong gumawa niyan. Okay, what if i-challenge nyo yung klase nyo o yung grupo na yon, mag-focus naman sila sa pangalawa. Halimbawa, what is the maximum number of regions? Ipapakita ko lang to para makita nyo na possible din na magkaroon ng rejection sa conjecture. Okay? So I repeat, what is the maximum number of regions ang pag-uusapan ngayon natin? So in this case now, pagdaraanan natin yung different stages. So cut ko na. So by construction, haharap na tayo ng pattern. Kapag 1 point, isang region lang. Tama? Kapag 2 points, 2 regions. 3 points, 4. 4 points, 8 regions when you count. I repeat, when I say region, ito, 1, 2. Yun yung region na tinutukoy ko, ha? Okay. 5 points, there are 16 regions. Yun. So, kung gagawin natin ng pattern ito, we need to tabulate. Sabi ko nga, mas madali pag nakapag-tabulated yung data natin. So in this case now, number of points, we have what? We have how many for the number of points? We have first 1, meron tayong 2, meron tayong 3, 4, 5, ... up to n na natin dyan. So maximum number of regions, based on the given is 1, meron tayong isang region lang. Kapag 2, meron tayong 2 regions. Kapag 3, 4. Kapag 4 ay 8, kapag 5 ay 16. Actually, madali makita yung pattern dito eh. Because all of these numbers are what? Yung 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16, all of these are base 2. Tama ba? Okay, so in this case na kung base 2, so 1 can be represented as 2 raised to 0. So 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3, 2 raised to, we have this 4. Tama ba? Okay, but looking at this solution that we have, pag naghanap tayo ng pattern, uulitin ko dapat with respect to the number of points. But take a look at this. Constant yung base, puro 2 yun. Yung exponent, take a look at this, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0 with respect to 1. Okay? 1 with respect to 2. Ano yung pattern na nakikita nyo? 2 with respect to 3, 3 with respect to 4, 4 with respect to 5. Ano yung pattern na nakikita? Okay, that the exponent is less than 1 to the number of points. Tama ba? Then therefore, we can write this one as 2 raised to 1 minus 1. Tama? And that this one can be written as 2 raised to 2 minus 1. And this one is 2 raised to 2 minus, dali lang. Tama. This one is 3 minus 1, and that this one is we have 2 raised to 4 minus 1, and this one is equal to 2 raised to 5 minus 1. Tama, no? And so therefore, for n number of points, we can say therefore that yung pattern na nakita natin is equal to the maximum, for the maximum number of regions is we have 2 raised to n minus 1. Yun. So ito yung pattern na nakita natin. So based on that pattern, saan tayo pupunta na? Gagawa na tayo ng conjecture. Okay, and that the given conjecture is, for endpoints on a circle, the maximum number of regions formed by joining them is, yon, susulat nyo lang, 2 raised to n minus 1. But you need to test that. Diba? Okay. So, when I say you need to test, lagay nyo lang ulit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, based on the diagram, pag meron tayong 1 point, ilang region meron? Ilang region meron? Wala. 0. Kapag dalawa, isa, ito naman ay 4, ito ay 8. Tama ba? At ito naman ay, how many here? 16. Yun. So, in this case now, substitute lang natin. So, we have 2 raised to 1 minus 1 is equal to 2 raised to 0, which is equal to what? Ay, ba't may mali? Sorry. Based on the diagram, tama ba yung nilagay ko rito? So this one is 1 minus 1 minus 1. This one is equal to, it should be 1 dapat ito. Saan ako nagkamali dito? Based on the diagram. Check ko nga lang ha, dali lang. So based on the diagram, what we have is that kapag 1 point, pag 1 point, sorry, yun ang naging error. Kapag 1 point, ito na. Okay, kapag 1 point na to 1 dapat ito. Kapag meron tayong 2 points, itong mali. This one should be 2. Tanggalin ko na ha. So meron tayong 1 dito, dito ay 2 yan. Ayun ang error. Okay, so simplifying it, this one is therefore equal to 2 raised to 2 raised to, so we have 2 minus 1, which is equal to 2 raised to 1, which is equal to 2. Ayun. Then, applying this expression is we have 2 raised to 3 minus 1 is equal to 2 raised to 2, which is therefore equal to 4. Okay, 4 pa rin. Then we have 2 raised to 4 minus 1 is equal to 2 raised to 3. And that 2 raised to 3 is equal to what? Is equal to 8. So tama pa rin. And then we have 2 raised to 5 minus 1. And 5 minus 1 is 2 raised to 4, which is equal to, we have 16. So you check. Based on the diagram, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 4, 8, 8, 16, and 16. So pareho, di ba? But take note that, tingnan natin to ha, take note that for n is equal to 6. Yun na. For n is equal to 6. So, applying our conjecture, 2 raised to n minus 1, so magiging 2 raised to 6 minus 1 is equal to 32. But note that, pag drawing natin yung circle na mayroong 6 points at binilang natin yung number of regions, ito yung mangyayari. So take a look at this. Okay? And that when you count the number of regions, it is only 31 and not 32 based on our conjecture. So lumalabas na mali yung may mali dun sa conjecture natin. Tama ba? So lumalabas na the instance with 6 points is a counterexample of our conjecture. So in this case, you will have now, for this conjecture, pwede natin siyang i-reject. Okay? Meaning, hindi tama yung conjecture natin that for n points on a circle, the maximum number of regions formed by joining them is given by 2 raised to n minus 1. So still, I repeat hindi ko muna reject yung conjecture na yun ay hindi na nag-investigate yung mga estudyante natin. Still, they investigate. Di ba? Kaya nga lang, nagkataon na na-reject. So yun yung instance na possible na ma-reject yung conjecture. Okay. Pwede nyo ring itry yung pangatlo. Halimbawa, naging particular kayo doon sa number of intersections. Yan. So possible din naman yun. So all in all now, kung titignan nyo yung problem na binigay, tsaka yung investigation na binigay, these three examples that we have are all process-oriented mathematical tasks. And I think pwede nyo masabi na, hindi ko sinasabi na gagawin individually, possible na by group, that this one will increase the reasoning ability, will challenge the thinking skills of your students, require decision-making, and encourage group discussion for every solution. Okay. Mahirap sa simula. Mahirap sa simula actually. Pero pag nasanay na yung mga estudyante natin sa ganung ginagawa natin sa kanila, sa tingin ko magiging madali na sa mga estudyante natin. And that, kung nakuha natin yung interest nila. Okay. To end up my discussion, just always remember this one. Ang sabi dito is that according to Schulman 1987, the key to an effective teaching to increase thinking skills of our students lies in the capacity of the teacher. Nasa atin daw, to transform content knowledge he or she possesses into forms that are pedagogically powerful yet adaptive to the varied abilities and background of our students. Kaya nga andun yung theory of constructivism na tinitignan natin yung knowledge as developed, di ba? Na pag sinabi natin theory of constructivism, that knowledge is developed and or constructed and not transferred. Okay? And that teacher plays an important role in giving and answering varied mathematical tasks to his students. Tama yun. We are the role model. And so with this, math teachers should model the way they think, okay, when giving and solving mathematical questions. Okay, and that's all for now. So thank you very much. Ma'am Cynthia.
Yes, thank you very much, Sir Edwin. At this point, we open the floor for questions. You may wish to type in the chat box your questions or concerns, comments to the topic, or you may also unmute your microphone and state your question. Okay, so that was a very, very comprehensive presentation, Sir Edwin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me check kung meron nang nagtatype ng mga questions dito. Ano ba to? Okay, so give them time to digest muna at mag-isip-isip, ponder sa presentation. Meron na ba, sir?
Puro mga thank you na ito kayong
about the copy, we are posting this presentation
yung copy ang hinihingi.
YouTube, so you may wish to view once again the presentation sa YouTube. Sir, meron na yatang question? There. How do you
suggest about starting this method rather than don't have prerequisite skills even wala naman skills to even understand the current lesson? Actually, ang sabi ko nga to apply this particular strategy actually, hindi ko sinasabi na magsisimula yan sa secondary. Actually, dapat nga kaya nga sa elementary, kung papansinin niyo tinuro ko na yung thinking skills elementary. Actually, gradual ito. Pwede natin masabi na sa elementary pa lang dapat dinidevelop na natin yung mga bata kung paano mag-isip, learning how to think based on the given task na binibigay natin sa kanila. Okay? And at the same time, siguro pwede tayo magsimula sa secondary, mag-start tayo sa madali lang muna, madadaling mga problems, okay? Focusing on non-routine problems. And at the same time, math investigation paminsan-minsan. Alam kong kukulangin tayo ng time kasi kung titignan nyo, mahaba yung process ng math investigation. Siguro sa isang quarter, kahit isang math investigation lang, maganda na yon. At least kung titignan nyo, from stage 1 to stage number 7, talagang nag-iisip yung mga bata. Okay, meron po bang tanong?
There's a question here, paano pala ginamit nyo yung slides kung saan pwede magsulat daw? Ano daw pala yung ginamit nyo na slides kung saan pwede magsulat?
Kung lang rin po, sa itong iPad Pro ang ginagamit ko, may capability siya na pag may pen ka, pwedeng sulatan yung PowerPoint. presentation mo?
Ayun.
iPad Pro po.
So you have to upgrade your your device. iPad.
Wala po akong ginamit na ibang app by means of, of my iPad and my pencil.
Okay, sir, there's a question pa. Possible po kaya na yung nagamit po sa explaining the conjecture, yun yung gamitin ni students sa making the conjecture? If so, paano po yung magiging explaining niya? Thank you.
Paano yan? Possible po kaya na yung nagamit po sa explaining the conjecture? Paano po yun? Yun yung nagamit ng student sa making the conjecture. Parang hindi ko makuha po yung hindi ko makuha yung tanong. So siguro po ang pwede ko na lang sabihin dito is that para dun sa conjecture na nagawa ng mga estudyante nyo, actually pwede yung tignan dun ay kung general statement ba yung kanilang nagawa based on the pattern derived. And then after, tignan nyo lang kung yung conjecture na nagawa nila ay tignan nyo lang kung paano yung proseso. Baka kasi posible na ma-accept yung conjecture o kaya ay ma-revise yung conjecture. Ilan naman titignan natin doon eh. Posibleng accept, revise, or reject. Tatlo lang naman yon. Focus lang po tayo doon. What is the difference between non-routine problems and open-ended problem? Actually po, ang pwede po natin pag-compare is that yung non-routine problem and routine problem. And then the other one is open-ended problem. Yung po yung mga task na ginagamit natin sa math investigation wherein hindi po klaro kung ano yung question na binigay. So bahala kang mag-create ng question based on the given task na kung saan ay ando doon yung interest mo o interest ng grupo. So how do we come up with these types of problems that can be solved using different heuristics? Do we develop this on our own? Actually po, maraming mga problems na non-routine. Kaya nga lang kasi parang nasanay tayo na parating dun sa mga books natin, kinukuha yung mga problems natin. Pwede po tayo mag-search, for example, a topic about fractions. Tapos, sample non-routine problems about fraction, adding the similar fractions, then magbibigay na po yun na maraming mga non-routine problems. Kasi po kung titignan nyo, parang ang ganda tignan na maipresent natin yung different solutions, pero I'm not saying na sa isang grupo lang manggagaling yun. So hanggat maaari, pilitin natin na bawat grupo ay magkaroon ng different solutions. Kung hindi man magawa ng mga estudyante natin yun, pwede tayong tumulong, papasok si what if. So what if kung ganito yung gagawin mo para bang binibigyan mo na ng guide yung estudyante para ang matumbok nila ay yung ibang klaseng solution naman. Okay, meron pa po tayong tanong dito. Wala na po.
Wala na.
Para magsulat sa PowerPoint, may apps po ba na aside?
Talagang sila, na-intriga sila dun sa pagsusulat ng sa PowerPoint. I guess that was clear enough. Wala nang questions na pumapasok. So, yun na ba yun? Okay, then. So, once again, meron pa isa.
Hello, sir. Yung na-present nyo kanina, yung po ba yung magiging format ng math? Actually, yes po, yung po yung format ng math investigation. Pero kung titignan nyo, stage 1 to 7 lang yun, actually, there are 9 stages, pero yung 7, 8, 9, pinag-isa ko na lang, ginawa ko na lang siyang generalization. Yun po yung sa kuwan, yun yung sa ginagamit sa junior level, pero sa senior high school, 9 stages po lahat. So, kung na-capture nyo kanina yung stage 7 ko, pinagsama ko yung tatlo into 1. Okay? Yun na po, yun na yung mismong ginagamit nating format or stages in conducting mathematical investigation. Sabi po rito, I have a question po, MIS, ano po yung ibig sabihin nun? Management Information System. Ano pa? Sir LJ?
May I speak po? Ayan. Tatanong ko po.
Ay, sige po.
Good morning po, Sir Edwin. Kasi po
Yes,
nag-conduct
sir.
na po ako ng math investigation nitong nakaraang taon as part of our math activities month. So,
Very good.
nagkaroon po yung mga bata ko. Anyway, I'm from Caloocan City Science High School po. And
Yes, sir.
isa po sa na-encounter ko kasi conjecture na meron sila o na-arrive nila ay hindi po gumagamit o hindi kailangan nung ang tawag dito yung process po na ginawa nyo kanina.
Yes, sir. Yung
iba
search ng pattern.
Opo, hindi po nagre-require ng sets of pattern. Parang ang naging ano nila is formula development. So, parang noon time pong yun talaga, nahirapan din ako na paano nila maipo-prove yung kanilang conjecture. So, may idea po ba kayo sa kung paano ko po matututukan ng ganung mga types ng math investigation problems?
Yes, sir. Actually, kasi may control tayo. Actually, may control tayong teacher sa pagbibigay ng task for math investigation. So, as much as possible, kasi ang aim natin dito is to increase yung thinking skill ng mga estudyante natin, di ba? So, if that is the case, kasi kung gagamit sila ng formula, built-in na yung formula. Kaya nga, hanggat maaari ako, dinidiscourage ko yung paggamit ng mga existing formula na. So, hanggat maaari, mas maganda na sa kanila manggaling based on the pattern na naobserbahan nila. Doon kasi papasok yung thinking skill na, doon madidevelop yung thinking skill ng bata. And that is yung pinaka-main aim natin for math investigation. So, ang pwede kong masagot dyan, sir, is that siguro ang gawin mo ay, since you have all the control, ikaw na mismo yung pwedeng magbigay ng task na nakikita mo na possible na magkaroon ng pattern. Yun, sir. Baka kasi mag-arrive pa yung mga bata na yan pag hindi sa'yo nanggaling yung task, baka umabot sa punto na magkaroon ng mathematical modeling, medyo mas mahirap. Mapunta sila sa sa aspeto na yon. Yun, sir.
Okay po. Thank you po.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Okay. Meron pa bang hahabol na question? I guess that's all. Okay. So, at this point, we would like to thank our Suki na resource person, our very star trainer, Dr. Edwin Ibanez, for sharing his time and expertise to all of us. Thank you, sir.
Welcome po.
Dr. Edwin Ibanez.